Retro bikes are beautifully created works of art, designs that have stood the test of time, many of which have been ridden by some of the most iconic riders in the cycling world. But there's one big problem. They're old, and compared to modern bikes, they're functionally inferior. So I want to find out if I can breathe a new lease of life into a retro bike by fitting a modern group set and take it on an epic ride. And it's thanks to some help from Shimano with their latest rim brake R9200 Dura-Ace group set. I'm going to try and see what's possible. But first, I'm going to need a bike. Now, everyone's idea of what actually counts as a retro bike is going to be slightly different. For me, it means going back to the 90s, and a brand with the most Tour de France victories, with 6 consecutive victories running from 1992 to 1997, is Pinarello. The most iconic bike from that era is the Pinarello Dyna. And if you were subscribed to GCN and GCNTech, you'd have known that already because Si made a video all about it a little while back. But what bike do I want to use as the basis for my bike build? Well, after a very thorough and detailed search online that lasted at least 1 minute and 37 seconds, I found the perfect bike. Not a Pinarello Dyna, but this. A Pinarello Monviso. Not quite the Tour de France race-winning machine that I first had in mind, but one hell of a bike nonetheless. And this one has been beautifully restored. While I might have joked about it only taking 1 minute 37 seconds to find the bike that I really wanted, I did actually put far more thought into it than that, and for a number of different reasons. My first thought was about finding a frame set that would be worthy of having a top spec group set put on it. I didn't want to have some old rusty bashed up bike, I wanted one that was in good condition. Now, the condition of the parts on the bike were kind of irrelevant, although it turns out the bike that I did buy had immaculate old school Dura-Ace on there, so that group set will 100% be going into my spare Dura-Ace cupboard. Anyway, the other considerations I had were around how old standards could meet new standards, because the bike industry is renowned for changing multiple standards over the years and never really having one that it's truly sticks to. So one of the big considerations was I wanted to use a modern handlebar on this bike. So I didn't want to have a bike which used an old school quill stem. It would really limit me on what handlebars I could use, because it's one of the main points of contact on the bike and something that was important to me. Other considerations that I had to take into account were for the gears and the brakes, crucial to making the bike go and stop. Now, the brakes were pretty easy to overcome because the brake cables are routed externally, pretty simple. And on top spec modern Shimano, we've got a semi-wireless setup. So the shifters to the derailleurs are wireless, but the derailleurs are linked together and share one battery, connected via cables. So this is something that I am going to have to overcome because the battery is located internally on the frame, the derailleurs are outside, and somehow I've got to get the cables to go from outside the frame inside to meet the battery. Now, I'm slightly apprehensive about that, and I have a small feeling that the drill is going to need to be involved, but we'll overcome that hurdle when we get there. Anyway, that's enough chat about that. Let's focus more on the bike. The frame is constructed from aluminium, 7020 to be precise, and has been beautifully restored in this vibrant orange colour, and it's got a little bit of like gold glittery fleck in the paint job. I think it looks absolutely incredible in this sunlight. The fork is new old stock, manganese vanadium, and I think the chrome really offsets the bright colour of the frame. Wheels, Shimano Dura-Ace hubs, obviously, and they're built up onto Mavic Open Pro rims, which basically back in the day is what everyone used. Tyres, Vittoria Zafiro Pros with, get this right, the Pinarello logos on them. I mean, that is incredible. Now, the group set is the period correct Shimano Dura-Ace 7700, and it is actually a thing of beauty. Plus, it's got the original, really nice condition inline gear indicator there. I mean, you don't get that with modern electronic wireless group sets, do you? Now, some people are going to say what I plan on doing to this bike is absolutely criminal. But fear not, my fellow GCNTech friends, because I am going to love and cherish this bike, and maybe, just maybe one day, I'll put it back to its original condition. Maybe. The 7700 Groupset represents some pretty impressive tech, and Shimano are actually responsible for many of the component design features and tech which we're all familiar with and use regularly today. And in 1996, at the time of launching this Groupset, Shimano made the jump from 8 to 9 speeds, and through various design features in this Groupset, shaved a whopping 580 grams off of the weight of the previous edition, the 7400 Groupset. At the time of its launch, Shimano said that this new, more compact lever design was said to be easier to use under the stresses of competition, and performance without compromise was the tagline, which was used when this Groupset was initially launched. And looking back at the original promo videos, well, it's some pretty impressive stuff, and it does make you appreciate how Groupsets like this one have really pushed innovation within the Groupset market. Now, my appreciation for older bikes and tech is something that I've discussed and shown here on the channel before, and to this very day, my all-time favourite bike is quite possibly my Retro Trek, which I've built up with modern 11-speed Shimano 105. And I absolutely love that bike so much that it actually inspired me for this build, because I wanted to find out that if I took an even older frame set and an even newer and more expensive group set, would mean that I would love the bike even more. Thankfully, Shimano also wanted to find out this as well, because they've come on board and sponsored this video and helped supply me with everything that I could possibly need, because as I'm sure you and I are very much aware, a modern premium group set does come with a premium price tag. This latest group set is the key part of my plan. Is going to help me bring a bike from the 90s into the year 2024. We got wireless shifting, we got 12 speed, we got Hyperglide Plus, and this is all technology that probably hadn't even entered the engineers' minds back in the 90s, but it's kind of considered to be the norm across a number of different Shimano group sets now. Anyway, I feel like I've been talking for far too long, so in order to get this bike build underway and started, the first thing we need to do is take it apart. I feel like these have got to be used on the finished Neo Retro bike. So this is the base on which I'm going to be building my Neo Retro bike. I'm excited to get putting this thing together, but before I do that, let's talk about some weights. Now, before I took the bike apart, it weighed 9.72 kilograms, and then the frame and fork, as it sits here, minus the seat post and the saddle, 2,540 grams. Some quick maths will tell you that means everything that I've removed from the bike weighs 7.18 kilograms, which is about the same as a modern top spec bike. So I'm intrigued to see what this bike weighs once I've built it up with Shimano's latest and greatest. My guess is going to be around the 8.5 kilogram marker, but I'm not sure on that. And if you want to get your guesses in, well, put them in the comment section down below. Now, when I was planning this project and how I was going to film this video series, I initially thought I was going to do some tests focused around speed. How much speed could I gain and put into this bike by fitting a modern group set, and could it compete with the likes of a modern bike? But then I quickly realised that isn't what a project like this is about. I mean, by definition, the term Neo Retro is for people who have an appreciation and enjoy things from the past, but want to reimagine them into something new and modern. And that's exactly what I'm going to be trying to do with this bike. Speed isn't the priority. What I want to focus on is, can I bring this bike into 2024? Will it ride nice? Will it even work? Can it be comparable in ride, feel and experience to what you get with a modern bike? Well, that is what we're going to find out in a few weeks' time when episode 2 of the build series comes out, because I'm going to put this bike together. I'm also going to choose some wheels for it, which I've been putting a lot of thought into, but you can let me know in the comments section down below what you would put into this bike. And also, I need to decide on what epic ride or adventure I'm going to take this bike on, because I'm also going to make a video over on GCN. So if you have any bright ideas for adventures that I can go on, and if you want to join me on them, well, let me know in the comments as well. But for now, I think I'm going to draw this video to a close. I'm excited to get putting this bike together, and hopefully you can enjoy the experience with me as well. So subscribe to GCNTech and turn on your notifications. Right, I'm out of here. I'm also going to box up all these parts and keep them safe. Oh, and Frank, the previous owner, I'm really sorry. Because please don't be angry at me. I will love and care for this bike, and one day I might put it back to its original condition. Right, I'm out of here. See ya. Love you, bye.